Now beginning transmission 129, Witch Doctor. File under Halloween 3 in 3D.
Come on, you fuckers think that just because a guy reads comics he can't start some shit? I'll fucking take all you want!
Welcome to this week's episode of the Funny Books and Firewater Podcast.
面白い本と歌手ポッドキャストの今週のエピソードへようこそ。
Ignore her. She drinks.
Each week a motley band of comic readers / amateur bartenders attempt to pair cocktails with comic books.
毎週漫画の読者の雑多なバンドはスラッシュアマチュア入札しようと漫画とペアカクテルバーです。
All while trying to not sound like complete morons in the
すべ
process.
ての中にしようとして音ではないような完了プロセスで低能です。
Kind of like a speakeasy kind of thing. It's kind of cool.
You can find these idiots on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr.
Facebook、Twitter、Instagram や Tumblr にこれらのバカを検索できます。
No, what?
You read too many comic books.
We now join Brian, Jeremiah, Adam, and Todd.
They're used to curious sights which they attribute to alcoholic delusions. They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings.
I'm too sober for this shit. Here is a drinking game to play while you listen to this episode. Please drink responsibly, and don't take it too seriously. And if you don't like it, blame William.
Take a drink anytime Mr. Porg decides to interject himself into the conversation. Shut up, Porg.
Take a drink whenever Brian mentions theater.
You need to take a drink anytime Manny Bothands makes an appearance, and I get groans and fuck yous from Adam and Maya.
Fuck Manny Bothan!
Manny Bothan is pure genius.
Adam makes it political. Take a drink to cope.
Take a drink anytime someone refers to me as the cum dumpster.
Take a drink when Mr. Maya tells us about the creators.
Take a drink every time the Shame Bell makes an appearance.
Also, take a drink anytime we act like the member berries from South Park. Remember when they were on South Park?
I remember.
Yeah, and take a drink every time we do the bad German accent, yeah.
Ah, drink, fucker!
If you have any suggestions for rules you would like to add, email us at funnybooksandfirewater@gmail.com or use the contact link on our website, funnybooksandfirewater.com.
Hey.
Hey, yes, we're all here live in the same room, which is a miraculous and weird feat.
This is a dangerous thing. This is a first.
Yeah.
This is a first.
Yes, all four of us in the same, because normally when I'm in town, somebody else is busy or out of town doing things.
That's me.
Well,
Sometimes
it's been other things. But so, hey, welcome to episode 129. This is our first of our October Halloween months, Halloween 3 in 3D.
Season of the Witch, right?
Kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
the
Hey,
movie that's unrelated to all the others.
but it's all about killing children, so I'm down with that.
All right.
You are down with killing children, and this book is about killing children as well. Which,
It is.
you have some issues that we need to discuss.
It's
we need
about
a therapy session for
saving
it.
them.
No, it's not. The kid's already dead
Well,
that point in
yeah,
time.
to be fair, if they're already dead.
Yeah.
What do you do with an evil baby? You shake it.
You shake the shit out of it.
Shake the baby.
You shake it like a Polaroid picture, which is actually a line from this book.
It is.
So
that doesn't date it at all.
That line's still, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not as bad as like "What up?" Like, that's pretty dated. Anyway, so the books. That's wow. That's almost as bad as "Where's the Beef?" And like even people in our generation don't even know where's the beef.
Oh, it's Wendy's commercial.
I know from like the old days. Anyway, so we're doing Witch Doctor this month, written by
Brandon Seifert.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Lucas Kentner. With an introduction by Robert Kirkman, which we have another book this month that's introduction by Robert Kirkman. So apparently this is introduction by Robert Kirkman month.
Have we ever done a Robert Kirkman book?
We haven't. I think we're going to have to do a Robert Kirkman month as well.
Dude, Battle Pope.
Exactly. No, Battle Pope.
Yes.
Invincible. There's a bunch of them.
I still have never read Invincible. I know it's like your favorite book, too.
It's probably one of my favorite books, yeah. Wicked and Divine is pretty amazing, but we've already read that one. But yeah, anyway. So, having never read Invincible, even though it's my favorite book, so apparently he doesn't truly love me, we have Mr. Adam.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Adam. We're doing stuff with Big Shiny Robot. Still figuring out Bored as Hell podcast with Andy Wilson.
Hi, Andy. And now we're all in the same room. We can actually get that all completely synced up.
Yes.
It's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, also doing Cinema Queens with our good friend Chris.
Hi, Chris.
And we actually, we just passed 1,000 downloads. So,
Whoa.
last episode we were right there. This episode we crossed over. Yeah, and then you can also catch me curating our Grindr, Scruff, and Tights with the Z accounts.
Congratulations.
I like that.
We are in his lovely home. I was going to try to throw it to you, and then I was going to give you a second to breathe.
No, that's fine.
So, well then, okay. No, I started on this. So we are in his lovely home. It is Mr. Todd.
Hi. Yes, I'm hosting today. It's the first time for Maya to come in these doors.
It is. I've only been outside these doors.
Right, but
He wasn't house trained at the time,
came.
so we had to keep him outside on a rope.
Now it's all sticky in here.
I know, but that's why the socks are all in the laundry.
I didn't bring my jizzle with me.
The jizzle whizzle?
The jizzle chisel?
That's from...
Jizzle chisel.
No, Adam knows the reference.
Just go on YouTube, look up Jizzle by Whitest Kids You Know. It's like they're making fun of the ShamWow.
Oh.
It's wiping cum off his arm.
Okay. Yes, so this is my house. Hey, I'm Todd, and I'm here on this podcast doing it with these lovely gentlemen here. I also do the English Class Hooligans podcast with my better half, Amy.
Hi, Amy! She's actually in the other room. That's why we all yelled.
That's right. So, and that worked out because none of us talked about that beforehand. So, yeah. So it's a good time. See me in Salt Lake. Say hello. She's doing some fun
peeking
stuff.
around the corner.
You don't know this, but we say hi to you on every episode.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yelling at Amy, like the rest of us, we have Mr. Maya.
Hi, Maya.
Hi, Maya.
Hey, I'm Maya, or Jeremiah, or hey you, or hey asshole. I answer to everything. I don't care.
Barry Bostwick it up.
Come yell at me on Twitter at Mr. Maya, or Instagram at the Mr. Maya. Let's talk about stuff. I love you.
Oh, he loves you.
Did you steal one of my mood elevators?
Elevators?
Not today.
Oh.
I thought you said elevator for a second. No,
Elevator goes up. Elevator stop.
We nearly had a spit take. Like Maya nearly spit.
I would have owed Brian a lot of money because this equipment would have stopped working.
Yeah, that nearly was the end of these episodes.
Dude, I love Plucky Duck.
Choo choo go down the hole.
Aren't they bringing Tiny Toons back?
They are.
They are,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I still need to watch the new DuckTales.
Woo!
I almost had David Tennant sign that at FanX, but instead I had him sign a picture of him and Jessica! So, hey, and I'm Brian. I'm a sound designer based in Southern California. Yeah, I have a job interview for something fancy now tomorrow. So as we record this, so hopefully as this comes out, I have a new gig. Another gig that I won't be able to talk about, but a new gig nonetheless.
When do you head back? Is it a phone interview, or do you have to fly back in the morning? And
No, I'm have to do it as a phone interview. Like the funny thing is, so I interviewed for another position, and I had to do it by phone, and they're like, and I got on the interview because I know the guy who's interviewed me. He's like, I thought you just didn't want to come in, and I was like, no, I'm actually in another state. And so then of course they just called me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be in the state, but I can do it via like Skype. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll do it that way. So I have another interview tomorrow. But so yeah, another job I can't talk about. But if I ran into you at FanX and said hey, and you're now a listener, hey, welcome to the party. I mean,
yeah,
it's been a few weeks now, so you're probably listening. But as we're recording this, FanX was just yesterday, and Todd and I had a good time. And Maya and Adam were too cool to come hang out, but that's fine.
We had other reasons.
I had stuff.
There were reasons.
Meaning you were too cool. You had stuff to do. Anyway.
I had to sit this one out, so.
I know, I get that. But actually, I was pretty proud of my panels. I think I did pretty well. And
You did a good job.
Eventually, I'm going to figure out what the hell I'm doing on these things.
And then they'll make you a moderator and you'll be fucked again.
I think I'd be okay as a
I think
moderator.
the real trick is just to refuse to moderate.
Actually, I enjoy moderating more than being on the panel.
Same.
Because you do more prep for it.
Yeah.
But then because again, a good moderator lets the panelists be up there and shine, so you just got to get out of the way and direct traffic.
Well, and moderating is probably not too dissimilar to what I do on a weekly basis.
It's
on
cat
this show.
wrangling, so.
Yeah,
What?
so I have a feeling that actually my mom, I think, she one point in time when she came to see one panel, she's like, I think you'd be a really good moderator. And I'm like, I think it was also after a panel where the moderator was not necessarily great. But anyway, so this month we are doing Halloween horror books like we always do every October.
Spooky Ghost.
Spooky Ghost. Which is the funny thing is,
Spooky
I always
Man.
think we're going to run out of Halloween books, and then there's so many horror books. It's not
So
even funny.
many.
There's actually a long tradition of horror comics. In fact, that's part of what got the comic book code initiated, was the fear of kids reading demonic books and whatnot.
I had a bunch of those, like the Tales of the Crypt. And
Oh, really?
When I was a kid, my
that's
parents were fine letting me read the comics. I just couldn't watch the show.
I don't remember the Tales from the Crypt show, but I do remember a Friday the 13th show, which was a very similar thing. I remember watching a marathon of it on a church retreat, of all weird things.
Wow.
It was on TV, and the person who was supposed to be watching us had fallen asleep early, so I stayed up and watched all of these. Like, they weren't very good, to be honest with you.
I remember it Tales of the Crypt, and my little teenage puberty-addled brain still remembers one particular episode.
Were there
well.
boobies?
Yeah, it displayed quite nicely in this white bra. It was nice. Yeah.
It's amazing what kind of images stick in your head.
Just
from those
there
kind of things.
forever and
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's a good thing you're sitting under a table.
that's true. The table just did lift a few inches, though.
It's just floating.
That was the ghost.
All you have to do is one.
So anyway, Adam, why don't you give us a quick little preview as to what which Doctor is, since you are the one. Oh, he's going to read right off the back of the book.
No, I can't never remember his name.
Oh, gotcha. Adam is the one who recommended this to me originally, way back in the day. So Adam, what's this book about?
So basically, you got this guy named Dr. Morrow, or Morrow, however you want to say his name. He is a magician / doctor, and he goes around with his assistant Gast, who used to be like a paramedic or work at a hospital. Was fired for some reason. You find out later what that was. Also helped by his sidekick Penny, who kind of has like a weird like monster hand and can sense monsters. And the book's kind of set up almost like Monster of the Week, where they go and they try to, the first one, this kid's possessed, so they go there and they try to get the demon out of him. The next one, there's these weird creature that's swapping babies out. He goes around solving these things, trying to heal people, and gets in trouble for it sometimes. Okay. But basically, it's kind of fun because he uses the supernatural and like actual real science and medical stuff to explain like what's happening to people, like what a vampire's like. It's actually this parasite and this and that. So it kind of takes some of your traditional tropes of like exorcisms and vampires and fish people and Cthulhu and stuff, and makes its own mythos.
Yes, it's sort of like Doogie Howser or Grey's Anatomy in a evil, dark world kind of thing. So, the way we need to have for every single book that we do, we need a drinking game.
And now for sports.
Listen up, sports fans. Prepare yourself and your liver for this week's drinking game. Remember, it's only a game, and a dumb one at that. So don't take it too seriously, and above all else, please drink responsibly.
We'll start with Mr. Adam. What is your drinking game rule?
So mine's called Hi, my name is. Every time they introduce someone and like their name pops up in like a little rectangular like word bubble, take a drink.
Cool. Mine is called Well, There's Your Problem, which is every time the doctor gives a prognosis, take a drink. Mr. Todd, what is yours?
Ew. Fluids.
It's something that Adam never says.
I know.
Actually, that ties into the name of my drink, too.
So every time during each one of these episodes that something's sliced open, puked upon, just flying everywhere, and there's just these fluids just flying all over the place of unknown origin. It's just kind of a blah. Have a drink.
See, it doesn't work for me because I know where the fluids come from.
But do you do the blah part? Or?
I do like a...
It's more of a gurgling.
Gurgling, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Where's your hand off?
This is why that little lady at your church couldn't listen to the show, was things like that.
Oh, that's absolutely.
So we're part of the Hello Sweetie podcast network, and we actually got kind of a complaint. From Cinema Queens, because Charity hit me up and she's like, "Hey, so with your promo, would you mind maybe redoing it and saying it's like a not safe for work episode?" I'm like, "Well, it's marked as explicit if you download it and this and that." And she's like, "Oh, because she's like, I love it because I think it's fun that you're raunchy, but someone wrote to me and said something about you had a bit about microwaved cum." And I was like, "Well, yeah, it loses all the flavor that way." So yeah, this actually is tame compared to what we do in Cinema Queens.
Well, I'll take heart in that we're the family or friendly podcast, I guess.
Tell your parents, kids.
Tell your parents. At least it's not Cinema Queens.
Mr. Maya, what's your drinking game rule?
So The name for mine I had originally sent to you guys as Mystic Mumbo Jumbo, but I think I'm going to rename it to Ooh Ee Ooh Ah Ah Ting Tang Walla Walla Bing Bang. It's anytime Dr. Morrow or anyone uses any kind of big, mystical, demonic, religious sounding word, take a drink.
Cool. So there's a point in time in the show where we do our votes as to whether or not we believe it is worth you, our dear listeners, hard-earned time and money and effort to go hunt this book down and read it. I know what your answer is going to be, Mr. Adam, but I have to ask, is this a yay or a nay?
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Mr. Todd?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Maya?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. I'm going to be 100% honest with you on this one, though. Before I reread this book for the show, it would have been 100% no. I don't know what it was, but from the first time I read it, I hated it, and I thought, Adam is crazy. I don't know why he loved this book so much. And then, and we'll get into it when we get in the spoiler category. I think there's a few things I know why I didn't like it the first time I read it. But reading it the second time, I really enjoyed it. So I'm definitely a yes as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a strange book, and I can see if you're not in the right headspace for it, it could definitely be something that you wouldn't enjoy.
I mean, it doesn't really spoil it, so I'll say it now. And so, for those of you who I can act as a fair warning. The first time I read it, the character has sort of the main character has sort of like a snarky commentary going on through the course of this book. And when I first read it, for some reason, I found that relatively obnoxious. So when I read it the second time, I thought it was actually very funny.
Okay.
And I think that was one of the things that put me off. I was like, yeah, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it was about it, but like I was just not necessarily in the right mood for that kind of humor. It's definitely funnier than you expect it to be. I mean, yes, it has some gross out sort of stuff, but expect more. I would say expect more Beetlejuice and not as much like traditional horror film when I mean, I know we're doing this in October, but it's definitely a lot funnier than you're going to expect it to be.
It's like funny gross out. It's like Toxic Avenger.
Tux Avenger or Garbage Pail Kids or that kind of thing. So that's a little more what you're to be expecting. So
Garbage Pail Kids grow up.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's our little warning for that. So we will now take a little break. We'll give you a chance to read the book, and then when you come back, we will spoil the living shit out of it. So this has been your warning. And also, we're not suitable for work at any point in time, but at least we're not cinema queens.
Exactly. that should just be like our tag now. Yeah. Funny Books and Firewater. At least we're not cinema queens.
Can you add that onto our promo for the Funny Books promo?
I could.
At least we're not
cinema queens.
I might do that actually.
That would work.
Love you, Chris.
I'm going to make bumper stickers. At least we're not cinema queens. Funny Books and Firewater.
But I can't use that because I am cinema queens.
Anyway, we'll see you on the flip side.
If you have yet to read this week's book and would like to read it now, press pause. Go ahead. We'll wait.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt.
And I'm Trevor. We're the co-hosts of the Nighthawks podcast, a movie podcast for people who like to stay up late.
We've just joined the Hello Sweetie Podcast Network, expanding our podcast empire and bringing the world to its knees.
Take a seat in the Nighthawks diner with us. We're going to talk to you about movies.
We've got new movies, old movies, movies we love, movies nobody loves.
You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, and at nighthawkspodcast.com.
Hey, that was pretty good. Do you think they'll listen?
The good ones always do.
Cool. So welcome back. See, Mr. Adam, I'm going to throw you on the spot again because you are the one who recommended it. Do you want to give us a quick little summary? I mean, it is sort of a Monster of the Week kind of book for those of you who haven't read it, but quick little summary of the story, and then we'll move on with our daily lives.
Okay, yeah. I mean, so it opens up with there's this kid who's been possessed. So Dr. Morrow comes in with his cohorts, Gast and Penny, to try to subdue the kid. Penny has a way where she actually has a venom running through her veins that she can use to make monsters stop. They go back to his lab and they find out that they explain that possession is basically like there's like a larva of a demon in you, and that is used to use like a pupa type thing. He goes to try to bring it out, and they find out that he can't because this kid's like Legion. He's got like a bunch of spirits in him. So they find a magical umbrella that keeps him safe. So they take him home and basically feng shui all of his landscapes so that while he's at home, the demon inside of him is asleep.
But he's still Bubble Boy.
He's still Bubble Boy, yeah. It's basically Bubble Boy in a big house kind of thing. And they actually reference that. The second one is this family's all freaked out because their baby looks all weird and fucked up. And that's actually one of the creepiest scenes in the whole book, is that baby.
Shake it!
Yeah, so Dr. Morrow explains that there's this alien, there's a queen with this weird queen bug
Fairy.
thing. Fairy.
It's a cuckoo fairy.
Cuckoo fairy. But like cuckoo birds do, she goes and she eats the baby and then replaces it with one of hers. The only way to find out if a baby is a fairy larva or real is you shake the fuck out of it, which actually...
Looking at that baby, it's pretty fucking obvious.
It was a weird looking baby.
And the fact that the baby is like using like adult terms when it's supposed to be like an infant and being like mother,
It
father.
could be just a case of a face that only a mother.
But it had like an old man's voice. That was the creepy thing too. But actually, that was what sold me on this book. Was my buddy Kylie was like, I should check it out, and he told me that basically you find out if it's a fairy baby by shaking the fuck out of it. I'm like, oh, I'm in. So they're trying to figure out where it is because generally like the fairy queen or like the main fairy will like hide out in an area to keep an eye on all the kids. You find out that she actually is at a hospital, so she's going into the infant's room and like replacing them. So they fight her. She gets killed with
fluids.
Basically Excalibur. You find out. The third one opens up with Dr. Morrow is kind of under investigation because something happened. They didn't really tell you. One of his cohorts who runs a museum, I believe it was. Can't remember her name.
It was a museum. It's a museum of like the supernatural and bizarre or something to that effect.
She brings him like a fish person, and
it's the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Lagoon.
Looks great.
Which got some in that movie last year.
Mm-hmm.
We find out. We learn that Penny has like this weird other creature inside of her, and like they kind of go back and forth on her shoulder, like the angel and the demon. They go try to find where the fish people are from, and they discover that there's this whole like clan of them, and they're worshiping like this thing because they have like the. We learned the story about basically about Dr. Morrow. What happened was that he was tasked because he pulled basically a sword out of the Sword in the Stone, Excalibur, and he's tasked to kind of save the world from the ancient ones who are, all asleep, and all the creatures and monsters that we know basically come from them. So, and it goes into detail explaining how like, these are all like parasites or larvae. It's not like supernatural. It's supernatural, but it's more science based. They go ahead and they kill everyone because they find out that the only way you can kill them is with antibiotics because they're like a disease.
Are they kind of like a thetan?
Maybe like a thetan, yeah.
We will get into some Scientology shit later this month, to be honest with you. Clean Room is fucking all up into Scientology.
So, anyways, so then you find out that there's this other group of people that are worshiping like this ancient one's artifact thing, and they're like in the old ancient like plague masks they used to wear back during the Black Death. And that kind of ends your run of the first story. Then it skips to chapter 0, which is just Dr. Morrow. He's experimenting on this guy who is a vampire, and he pulls like the vampire like larva out of it and basically gives it a truth serum and asks it questions and fucks up because one of the questions was like, don't you know who I am or something like that, and he's like, well, that was your first question. He's like, fuck. They try to save the guy when they kill it, but they couldn't get the Grail water from the Holy Grail into him on time, so he dies. And then they're like, okay, well, let's go unthaw another vampire because I feel like cutting things open today.
Right.
And he also feeds the vampires to Penny as well.
Yeah, because Penny Dreadful eats monsters, so she has to eat so often. And so when she was really, really hungry when they were working on the fish monster, the creature from Black Lagoon, all of a sudden look over and she's like trying to eat it. Like, no, bad Penny.
And then
we do that outside.
And she looked all sad when she put it back too.
She did it, and you can see all this internal conflict of like the angel versus the demon on her shoulder going, but we want to eat it. And she's like, but he's protecting us. It was good fun.
So.
Okay, well, Todd, what are your thoughts?
I really dug the art in this. So that was a whole lot of fun going through this. Lucas Kettner, you're the man. It's a whole lot of fun because, even my whole game is fluids. It is, there's like a tactile sensation with all the blood and guts and gore and fish stuff and just...
Blood and guts and boobs and butts.
Yeah, it's all going on there. And gets quite the reaction from me. It's shadowed well. It's got a very lived-in look for it as well. So the art's fully realized, and I really dig that. So it's go Kettner, because I dig your artwork here, and the coloring and all that was just fantastic. I do enjoy each episode's like a creature of the week. As much as I love strong arc-centric 10,000 page epic tomes, the episodic story of the week too definitely has a good strong place in my heart, and this is playing a good time with it. And you have the occasional little bits that seem to be carrying on, but I absolutely love the sword that can cut anything. You just have to teach it first,
but don't stick it in anything.
Just don't stab with it.
Just don't stab, but you can cut. And it was just a whole lot of fun as it was going through. It did there were some parts that felt like heavily borrowed and influenced. And absolutely, it's there. I mean, there's a lot of this Cthulhu stuff going on, and you've got these things. But I did enjoy it. And I had good fun, and I'll probably be picking up more of these from.
There's only one other book.
Yeah, it's a really limited. Yeah.
Why'd you stop, Seifert?
There's only 10 issues. I don't know if it counts issue 0 or not.
Was it intended to be that only that many episodes, or was it just
a Cells issue?
I'm looking right now.
The Volume 2 is a second 6-issue miniseries, and it looks like a one-shot.
Okay.
So I wonder if it wasn't doing well, and they're like, hey, we'll give you a one-shot to kind of finish stuff off. And
what I do enjoy with the personality of it with his doctor is like, yeah, I know the grounds don't look great, but it's in better shape than when first appearances are going on.
Yeah.
And there was just, you can tell from the writer's mind, and it was fleshed out with the art and whatnot. It's a fully realized world, and it's doing that well. And it's about having a good time, shaking the shit out of a baby just to see whether or not it's things like, but what if you're wrong? He's like, I'm not. And I'm like, this is hilarious.
But what if?
But what
if you are wrong?
But I'm not. So, I mean, it's a creature of the week. It's House. As a supernatural thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
That's a better description than
House meets Doctor Strange.
Yeah, a little bit going on with that there.
I was going with Doctor Strange more because he is very.
Or House meets like John Constantine.
I was thinking Constantine as well, but Constantine's more spiritual, sort of.
Right.
Personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably one of my more favorites is there's the you've got the kids like, oh look, it's a possession. He's talking to the priest, and he's like, well, I can fix it, or you can pray, but. Go pray over there, and I'll fix it.
Yeah, you have a concussion. Go to the hospital.
Well, and that's one of the things I liked about this book is that while they call them demons, they're not really demons in the biblical sense. I like that all the monsters, well, at least vampires and the demons and the fairies, they're all different. They're more like parasites.
Yeah,
they're like Cthulhu parasites, and I really dug the when he was explaining when they were watching the little film reel that explained like. The origins of them coming to Earth. So they're like aliens?
Thetans?
Yes, Thetans.
Hold it for Clean Room. Just wait for Clean Room. Have you read Clean Room yet?
No, I haven't read Clean Room yet.
Just trust me. Just hold all your Thetan jokes for Clean Room.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So, no more Xenu. All right.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's
not for this book.
Okay.
Clean Room is all up in the Thetans. I'm just saying. Like...
All up in its guts.
All up in its guts.
Yeah,
OT level 7 shit there.
Yeah. Oh no. Like literally. Like I'm not kidding. Like it is hard to read Clean Room and not go, oh, they're making fun of Scientology. Okay, I see what's going on here. Like this
is actually what Scientologists believe.
It's not to that point, but it's it's pretty fucking close.
So. Okay. Well. All right.
Hail Xenu.
Well, Mr. Maya, what are your thoughts?
I mean, just. I like the mythology. I dug like this, as Todd said. This guy has created a world that has a much richer backstory than has probably been explored yet.
That's true. I mean, there is a lot of places that this could go.
I wish this was still continuing. I want to see Vincent here save the world completely.
Or crossover with, Actually, this would be kind of fun. He'd be a fun character to like crossover, like Invincible or something like that. Like, although Invincible's done as well, but like that would be kind of an interesting one of having Invincible crossover.
We get it. You like Invincible.
Blow me, clown.
Wow.
No, it's a phrase we use at work all the time, and so I changed to be "fellatiate me, funny man," to be politically correct for work.
Fellatiate me, funny man.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a drop of that now. So
he's skilled in the terms of analingus.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Well, so other than shaking babies, what was your love of this? Because you recommended this to me as well. So
yeah, I think didn't I recommend it last Halloween or one? I know there's a couple.
I read it. Yeah, maybe last Halloween. It might have been one of those books that you had recommended and I bought as a potential, and we didn't end up doing it. So, but I remember reading about last year.
Which means Brian read it and was like, "Fuck you, Adam."
Yeah, pretty much.
It wasn't even that.
Not making the list now.
What ends up behind the scenes? What ends up happening is we start recommending books, and sometimes I'll just start buying books that people recommend because I'm like, well, if we don't do it this year, we'll do it next year anyway. And so I think that's why I picked it up originally. So anyway, but what outside of the Shaking Babies? What was your attraction to this book?
I think when I started reading it was when I was also reading the Hellraiser series, so I was kind of already in that mood for like the supernatural and kind of gross out comics. And it was just, when you read it, you said you didn't like it at first because of like the running dialogue he has and kind of that snarkiness. I love snarky stuff like that, so his character just...
Because it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to take the personal blame on that. You know what I mean? I think it just either I wasn't in the right headspace or I went into it expecting it to be something else, and then,
And that happens, too.
Or it could have been both.
Yeah, it probably was.
Like, you could have just been, not in the right mood, and then read it, and you're like, oh, I thought it was something else.
Well, because I also get in these moods where, like, I'll read a lot of a certain type of thing, you know what I mean? And so, like, if I was reading a lot of, like, really serious comics, then all of a sudden I have a snarky one that might necessarily, like
from Underwater Welder to this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, completely, yeah. It would not have fit into that thing. But, like, when we're doing a bunch of fun horror books, it felt, I mean, because, like, I've read all the books for this month except for the last one, and this was the most recent one I read. I kind of read them sort of in backwards order. But, like, really dug it when I'm in that mindset. It really
Gotcha,
was
yeah.
really fun.
So, I picked it up, and, like, I just, everybody recommended it to me, so I think it was the first 2 issues were out. And I loved the idea of the characters. The artwork was fantastic, as Todd's pointed out. And I always like it when something takes what you think you know about. So we've all seen The Exorcist. We know about demonic possession. We know about fish people, or we know about vampires. And he creates this new mythos and this new world, like Maya was saying. And also, when I was into this was when I first started getting into more like H.P. Lovecraft and Cthulhu. There were some board games I was playing. And so I was already on a Cthulhu kick as it was. And so this just kind of dovetailed right into that. And I just ended up loving the character. I liked how snarky he was. The art, I said, I already kind of repeated myself now, but it was really, really fun. And it was just kind of one that no one knew about, and obviously because it only went for 10 issues, so people didn't really care about it back then.
Yeah, it's a fun little hidden gem,
With the books that we've done that have had, sort of thematic or direct ties to Cthulhu mythos, this one is much better than the last one we did
The last one we read last Halloween, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, that book was awful.
But sometimes it's fun to have a book just to hate on.
It is.
Well, and the unfortunate thing is the person who recommends that book gets hated on as well, and I still am apologizing for Nutjob. I'm sorry.
Should have read Dead Presidents.
Fucking awful.
See, Brian doesn't like Dead Presidents.
Oh, see, I love Dead Presidents.
I know. That's the thing. I mean, that's a totally different issue. But like, there are 3 people here who have read a fair amount of Deadpool, and we have completely different perspectives on which run of Deadpool is the best. So that's a totally other different issue.
Okay, and then also I was just kind of getting into more adult oriented. I think I read this one about the same time as Crossed.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was kind of discovering them more, which we still need to do Crossed for us.
Crossed is going to be another book that I think is going to be very divisive.
But just the only good there's 2 good Crossed.
I was going to say, from what I've heard, the only good one is like Volume 1.
Volume 2, Family Values, is pretty good. But then Volume 3 was Psychopath, and that was just going gross to be gross, and I hated that character. So, and they brought him back in Cross Badlands, which pissed me off. But no, it was just a fun book, and you're not going to get your life changed out of it, but it's definitely a page turner. You can go through it pretty fast, and I do wish they were continuing on, because if I remember correctly, the second book is more about him and some stuff he's going through, not so much the Cthulhu stuff. But again, I haven't read it like in 6 years, so I could be completely wrong.
Gotcha. Well, and I mean, I could see him and Cthulhu would be really fun as well. Let's jump into some cocktails, shall we?
Yeah.
Behold, we finally fulfill the second half of our title and make with the fire water.
Alcoholics transform!
We need to get these bitches drunk.
That sure smells boo.
Mr. Todd, what's your drink?
So, one of the episodes from here has quite the creature from the Black Lagoon. So, in this one, I'm going for the fishbowl cocktail, but it's really a party punch drink for everyone to drink. So, as I talk about this thing, it's going to be in mass quantities.
Mass quantities.
That's right. So, either you're a conehead, or it's for many people.
Or you're an alcoholic.
Or you're an alcoholic.
Or you're a professional alcoholic.
And what also shows that you're an alcoholic is it claims it only takes about 5 minutes to make this thing start to finish, which isn't too bad.
But now if you can drink it in 5 minutes start to finish, then you really got something there.
But it's designed to serve 8.
Okay.
All right. So this has a full cup of rum, a full cup of good vodka. I love that it says good vodka. It says avoid the cheap stuff.
None of that plastic bottle shit.
Right? 3/4 cup of blue curacao. 1.5 cups of sweet and sour mix, 4 cups pineapple juice, 4 cups lemon lime soda, ice, Swedish fish, and citrus fruit slices to put on top. Everything needs to have a flourish. So how you make this thing is you fill your fish bowl 1/3 full with ice, You can finally get the little pellet ice cubes, like from like Sonic and whatnot.
Crunchy ones.
Yeah. Pour in the rum, vodka, and the blue curacao, and give everything a little bit of a stir. Just a bit going on. Pour in the sweet and sour pineapple juice and lemon lime soda on top. Add more ice as needed to get the bowl just about full. Create a good layer on top so you can hold the fish. Then you take your Swedish fish out and you sprinkle the top of that bowl with the Swedish fish. And then you hand everyone a straw. And it's a big punch bowl with a straw with the fish on top. Then you're all, as a group, sucking the shit out of that fish bowl of booze.
That's what Adam did last weekend.
Just last weekend, shit. I would try every single fucking day.
Okay, so here's the thing about Swedish fish. They are a lie. You know this, right?
They what?
Swedish fish.
What about them?
They're made in Canada.
Yeah, eh?
Those lying bastards.
I know. Breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Mr. Maya, what is your cocktail?
My cocktail, at least I was looking at the ingredients when Todd was reading his, is kind of similar.
So is mine, actually.
But mine's called The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
All right.
It's
great minds think alike.
2 ounces of kachaka.
I've got that.
Wasn't he in... Oh, I was like, wasn't he in Black Panther?
2 ounces of Midori, 1 ounce of Cruzan coconut rum, 1 ounce of lime juice, 1 ounce of pineapple juice. Mix those together and shake violently, for a good 30 seconds.
I'm surprised Adam didn't come up with that one.
I know.
Strain it into a large rocks glass filled with crushed ice and set a reamed lime.
I did take part of that one.
Half in the ice as a bowl, and fill that with 1 ounce of Kraken or any other dark rum. Add a straw and enjoy.
Okay.
See that kachaka you're talking about? I don't even know how to say it, but that's what's in the caipirinha. So your classic Brazilian drink, it's caipirinha and basically simple syrup with lime. Oh, that looks great.
Looks delicious, actually.
It really does look delicious.
I'd say we can make one, but because we are in Utah, we don't have a grown-up state, we can't get the shit to make it.
Well,
although it might also be in Todd's closet. So.
I have a little bit.
Yeah, I would be surprised if you didn't actually have all this. If you have the kachaka, I'd be surprised if you don't have everything else in there. Well, maybe the pineapple juice.
I might have that.
Wow. Okay.
Well, that we can get.
Yeah,
right,
sure.
right. I've got a dark rum floating back there.
Okay.
And Kraken rum's really good too.
Yeah.
I don't have the Kraken rum though.
Kraken is about the. Do you have just like a dark rum?
I
Dark
think
spice
so.
rum? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says any other.
Yeah, Kraken actually made a ginger beer too that I had at a little fancy pants restaurant in LA. It was actually really good. It was a
ginger beer with the Kraken rum.
But it was a Kraken brand ginger beer. It was pretty interesting.
Huh.
Pretty good. So,
all right.
Since we seem to be going around the table, not that matters to you listening at home, but to
they
us,
can tell.
I'm sure they can.
They can tell.
I'm gonna take mine next. Mine I'm calling it's the Dreadful Trade, and it's in British measurements. I apologize. Mm-hmm. So it is 50 milliliters of Tanqueray, 20 milliliters of fresh lemon juice, and 25 milliliters of orgeat, and 1 dash of the Bitter Truth's Creole bitters. You are going to shake and strain into a glass and garnish with dehydrated lemon and fresh sapphire. Mr. Adam, what is your cocktail, sir?
So since we're all kind of on a citrus kick, mine is called the Fish Fluids.
Fluids.
So you put crushed ice into a highball glass. You pour in 1 ounce of peach schnapps, 1 ounce of blue curacao, 2 ounces of vodka, or you can use white rum, as long as it's a light rum. You stir, and then you top with Sprite and garnish with a lime wheel.
So if you have Sprite and some fruit juices, well, I mean, I guess it's kind of a tiki kind of. It's interesting that we went tiki with all of these.
Well, it's like fall when we should be doing like pumpkin spice.
I know. Well, but I mean, it's like
we ain't no basic bitches.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, we are. We're kind of basic bitches.
God damn it.
Especially you, Maya. Most definitely basic bitch. Well, cool. Does anybody else have something they desperately want to express about this book before we move on?
It's not for your kids.
It's definitely not for your kids. It's definitely not one of the kiddie books.
So I had the digital copy, and yes. I read this originally in single issues, so I'm wondering if it's the same in yours.
Uh-huh.
But for whatever reason, anytime they cussed, it was blacked out on mine.
I noticed it on one of them. I didn't notice it anywhere else.
I mean, this book isn't, it's the adults only because it's of the content, not so much the actual like language.
Yeah,
but anytime it said like fuck or shit, they would black it out.
Yeah,
I think that's part of the.
I think it's part of the gag.
Yeah, I figured it was. I just didn't know if maybe it was different in like the actual print version aside from the digital version.
Yeah, it's definitely in mine for sure. I remember that.
just for your information on the back, because you know how what was it? Whatever we did last week, it was.
It was
Ringside.
Crime.
This is horror/medical drama. Is what it's listed as.
I think okay, Maya, this is your new segment. It's going to be, what is this book listed as?
It only works with image books, I think.
Well, we'll find out. Maya might have a new segment. I hope he does. So, well, cool. Then let's jump into final grades.
Jamie, school is never a waste of time.
Since we have 15 minutes until recess, please put down your pencils and stare at the front of the room.
It's report card time. It's report card time. It's report card time. I'm so fucking thugged.
God, please, no! 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 No!
For the writer, Mr. Pronounce his name for me, please, Todd.
Brandon
Seifert.
Seifert.
Like
Okay.
Siegfried Seifert.
Okay. So for Brandon Seifert, what is your grade, Mr. Adam?
I'm going to go with an A, because like I said, it creates this wonderful world. It takes what you already know, turns it on its head. It's well written. Again, it's funny. It's dramatic. It is creepy and gross. And I just had a blast with it. So
cool, Mr. Todd.
I'd give it a B+. I had a lot of good fun with it, left to right. This would make a great TV show type of a thing.
Actually, yeah, that's true.
Like HBO.
So as just going through this, like a doctor.
You could even do it like on CW, just with a little bit less gore.
Or you do FX.
I disagree.
FXX.
Supernatural gets away with a ton of gore.
Okay, so then so you could do it on CW.
Do it
even.
totally on CW. Yeah.
Because language and sexuality is not necessarily an issue, so like you don't even have to have it on like something like an HBO or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the thing is, like, on your CWs and those kind of shows, they can say fuck whenever they want. The reason why they don't is because advertisers.
Yep, for sure.
I mean, look at FXX
Follow the
with
money.
Sunny.
Always Sunny. I mean, last year they did the 7 dirty words you can't say on television and said them all.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. What's your grade, Mr. Adam? Maya?
I'm going to give it an A. I really enjoyed it. I really wish there was more than the 2. And I'm totally in agreement. I would love to see this as like a TV show. In fact, I'm surprised no studio executive or anything has discovered this, because this could be something to...
Or it might just be in development
mine.
hell. You never know.
Yeah.
So,
but
cool.
Also, it's one of those things, no one knows about this book.
Yeah,
Whenever I
that's
say
true.
it, they're like, what the fuck is that?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I'm gonna go with an A-. Like, I really liked it a lot. It's just it's not the greatest thing I've ever read, so like I'm withholding my A for Wicked and Divine and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. For Lucas Kentner and the rest of the team, did he color it as well? I'm just gonna check that. To be honest with you, let's see. Colors were by Sunny Go and Andy Troy, James Grant.
And they had a special medical consultant on it, too.
Karen Anderson. Ooh, maybe
a medical consultant. Like,
that's kind of awesome.
Where can I shove this larvae or pupa inside here?
Exactly. Thing we can do. So for the art team, what is your grade, Mr. Maya?
I'm gonna stick with an A-. Let's say A-. It fit the story really well. I liked that I liked the bloodiness of it, but it didn't seem too over the top to me. It seemed
Fluids,
like
ew.
it seemed like it fit.
Okay.
It didn't seem like out of place or overly gory for the sake of being gory. It totally fit the story. And there's some really good facial expressions as well that I enjoyed that kind of helped the story move along. So yeah, we'll say an A. We'll stick with an A instead of the A-.
Okay, cool. Mr. Todd.
I'm gonna go ahead with an A-. I really enjoyed the art. It was a lot of fun. So this is a
horror/medical
drama.
I mean,
but
having watched
funny.
medical drama shows on not medical, like true medical shows, I would classify those as horrific as well.
Sure, but there's a lot of funniness. So it's a horror medical drama, but it's like a dramedy, I guess. There's some good, and it just goes right along with it. And had some creepy vibes going on, but it also made me laugh as I was going through it. I think the art really helped sell that. I mean, even the design for the creature from the Black Lagoon, I mean, that thing was top notch. It felt very familiar, like I knew exactly what it was, but it didn't say like, oh, look, this is ripped off from something else.
It wasn't exactly what we know the creature from the Black Lagoon to be. It was its own.
It was its own thing, and that really sums up a lot of this book. It's like, this is very familiar of a lot of things, but it's its own thing.
Oh,
and I really enjoyed that.
I also like they mentioned werewolves, but we didn't see them.
Yeah.
I want to see the werewolves in this world.
I don't remember if they're in the next one or not. It's been too long, but
so yeah. So what did I give it? An A-?
Yeah.
A-.
For art team, Mr.
I'm still at an A. I mean, for all the things that Maya and Todd already said, so there's not too much I can add there. But I did like the thing that Todd brought up, that you know what these things are because we have our own folklore and myths and legends. But at the same time, it took that and made them alien. So it was just distinct enough to be its own mythology.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with an A. The art is fun and engaging and interesting and also creepy enough. It's not necessarily pleasant art because it's a horror book, but it's very fun. And I enjoy
gross
it.
fluids everywhere.
There's a lot of gross fluids everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so for overall grade, Mr. Adam.
Stick with an A. I mean, this is one of my favorite books. I haven't read in a long time. I'm really glad I went back and did it again. So now I'm going to go pick up the next trade and probably tear through that in half an hour. My only complaint is that there's not more, and that they haven't really taken this and capitalized on doing something fun like on CW or HBO or something.
Gotcha.
So.
Mr. Todd.
I can give this an A-. I really enjoyed it and had a good time with it. It's with a theme of all, it definitely hits the horror month and everything else, but I can't really say it was ever scary. It was grody and it was good times, but I enjoyed it, but I'm not sure. See, horror for me is an interesting thing. Can it be horror if it's funny?
Well, I mean, I did a whole panel on that at Comic-Con, and I think it's completely possible.
Okay, that's fair. Fine. Yeah, but A-. I had a good time with this. And yeah, I would like to read more and see more.
Well, and, I mean, to your
Feed
point...
me, Seymour.
Well, no, but to your point, I think the reaction to horror and comedy are very similar. I mean, it's all about a twist, a surprise that comes at you.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, a lot of times when people scream at a horror movie, like at a jump scare, it's often always followed by laughter. You know what I mean? Like if you're ever in a movie theater and people scream at something, then they'll laugh afterwards. And so I think those two things are very intertwined. And I think when they're both done really well, I think it's really good.
It's kind of like riding a ride at a theme park.
Yeah, completely.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny you bring that up because with Cinema Queens 2 months ago, we did Hannah Gadsby did a special on Netflix called Nanette, and she was talking about stand-up comedy and everything else.
Yeah.
And the whole bit, the build-up of stand-up comedy, and also you see with horror, is the building up of tension and then the release.
Yeah.
Because a comic's up there saying something, and they're like, they might say something kind of messed up or fucked up, and you're like, ooh, but then it's all taken away because you can laugh, and that's what horror is. I mean, that's one of the greatest movie-going experiences of my life was seeing Scream 3 in LA at a packed house opening night, and having everyone like yell at the screen, and then there'd be a big jump scare, and the whole audience would go, and then just sort of bust up laughing, and it was definitely an experience.
Awesome. Okay, so final grade, so it's Mr. Maya.
Yeah, I'm also giving it an A. I gave it an A for art, A for story. Thinking about this more and more, and having previously, worked at a comic shop, horror comics are a hard sell.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take Walking Dead out of the equation, tell me another horror book that's lasted more than 10 issues. That's like
Hellraiser
or Hellblazer.
Mm-hmm. Hellraiser 2.
But those are mini-series that come few and far between. I mean, an ongoing.
Oh no, I wasn't trying to go get your point. That just popped in the head. So.
Yeah, but and that's probably why we haven't seen, just because horror comics are such a hard sell. But more and more people should be reading them, because every time we do these horror books, I love the majority of them. Fuck you, Neonomicon.
That book was terrible.
Fish orgy, more fish people.
It's a genre that I wish we saw more of, but it's like I said, other than Walking Dead, there are a couple other books that I could see that would have lasting effects, or could have a lasting series if they were put out on time. I'm not looking at anything put out by Archie at all.
Yeah.
But I really love this book. I would totally recommend it to people, especially if, are like, what kind of books do you like, or what kind of things do you like? And they're like, I like horror movies. I would totally shove this book in their face and yell, read it!
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. And then, especially, I think for me, this, I don't know why I feel this really is closely related to like Evil Dead. Like, if you're an Evil Dead fan, I think this is a book. That's very much up that alley. Okay, and so I'm going to go with an A-. I mean, everybody said all things about it. I really dig this book, especially the second time around. I am glad that I gave it a second chance for this book. And I'm glad that Adam recommended it to me originally into this. So, anyway, cool. So, does anyone else have anything else they want to bring up on this book before we move on to recommendations?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it. It's not going to change your life, but you're going to have a ton of fun reading it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So then for recommendations, do you have anything, Mr. Adam?
I do. So I have literally played every Spider-Man game that's ever come out back from
I'm so jealous you've already played that game. I'm waiting until I have to get back to California.
You can play when you come over today.
I mean, I probably will then.
So I played every single one that's like in the arcades, like Spider-Man, the Avengers, everything. I love Spider-Man. The new one just came out exclusively on PS4, and they have a PS Pro and a 4K TV. It's one of the most gorgeous games I've ever played in my life.
It really is.
Yeah, you're Spider-Man, and you were flying around or web swinging around a real life New York. Like, actually, one of the reviewers for I think IGN or GameSpot found his apartment. Was
he in there?
No, he's in there jerking off.
Thanks, Google Maps drones.
Like we went to Times Square, and Clark showed me the hotel he and his family stayed at when they were in New York a couple years ago. Like,
we can find our hotel.
Yeah, we can.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll do it. We'll go find our hotel. Okay.
It's right by the Empire State Building, which I actually had to go take a picture of.
It's one block off, so I know where to find it.
I was actually walking in Rockefeller Center. You take a picture of the statue, and then you walk around and take a picture of Radio City Music Hall. Yeah. Like, it's a ton of fun. So far right now, the combat plays kind of like Arkham Knight, or the Arkham games.
Arkham City.
Yeah, but
that's what I was hoping actually, because Arkham City you can sort of connect, grapple hook to almost anything, and that was what I was concerned about. Like, as long as you could do that, I think that's really where the selling point for Spider-Man is going to be.
Yeah. It's really cool. There's a million fucking things to unlock, and the thing that's cool is like when you unlock these towers, kind of like you do in Assassin's Creed, is you get like, there's like you're on your mission, but then hey, someone's getting mugged. Well, you have to go help them because you get crime points, and then you get like other points, and that's what you use to actually unlock new skills, unlock new suits. And it's cool is you can get the Spider-Man Noir suit, which when you do a special power, it's like, okay, guards, if they see you, they can't call for backup.
Yeah.
But then you can switch over to be in the Iron Spider suit and use that power instead of the Iron Spider legs. It's really customizable. It's a lot of fun. You can play as like Mary Jane, do like stealth sequences and stuff. It's everything they told us it was going to be, and it's the best Spider-Man game they've ever made. So
that sounds really awesome.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to that.
Just from watching you play it, and from having a couple of people say what they would like before the game came out, and now especially after watching you play it, I really want Insomniac continue doing Marvel games and have their own Marvel video game universe with everything kind of tied together.
Well, that'd be cool.
And this is the Spider-Man that's in the MCU, because you can go to Stark Tower, everything else.
That's pretty cool. Now I want to figure out the address of Stark Tower. That's maybe something we'll have to do at a later day. Mr. Todd, do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, I started watching it again. There was this anime called Last Exile that came out well over a decade ago, but it's in my collection. And in the classic Japanese way, the setting is on a distant planet, but the whole clothing and style, all of that is a very German, Austrian, post-World War I aesthetic going on. And a little bit as well of like Castle in the Sky. So you kind of combine those two things, and that's how it's fun. It's they did a full run of it, and it has good times. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah. Mr. Maya?
I'm also going to recommend a video game. As we record this past week, not only did Spider-Man come out, but the first big expansion for Destiny 2, Forsaken, came out. And if you're someone that played Destiny 2 and kind of fell off because you felt like there wasn't really, you felt like you ran out of things to do, this game has so much to do in it. It adds so much. They've added a triumph system, which are basically like in-game achievements. So you should have, as long as you haven't completed everything, all the triumphs, you should have so much to do forever. It's a lot of fun. The story mode itself is very much a revenge Western tale. This is not a spoiler by any means because it's been in all the trailers, but our beloved Cade Six, who was originally voiced by Nathan Fillion, and Nolan North had to come in and record for this one because Nathan was busy, is dead. And the story is basically you're tracking down his killers to get revenge. And it's really awesome, and I'm still trying to unpack everything there is to do in it. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. And since we're sort of on a horror movie thing, I think I already recommended the comic Frankenstein, Agent of Shade, I think a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to recommend that again, but I'm going to recommend an old horror comedy that I revisited because I had to do this panel. For those of you who haven't seen The Burbs, it's really fun. Go back and check out The Burbs.
A lot of fun.
It's basically why am I blanking? Tom Hanks, and his wife is played by Princess Leia herself. He's taking a staycation well before staycation was a thing, and the house next door is full of weird, creepy people, and they're semi-convinced that the weird, creepy people next door have killed their neighbor, and they're trying to sneak around. Like it's basically a bunch of adult men acting like a bunch of like 14-year-old boys, trying to check out a haunted house. But it's really fun, and since we're kind of doing horror movie stuff. And horror month, go check out The Burbs. It's really fun.
And you got Bruce Dern before he dried up into a apricot pit.
That's true. Yeah. That's very true. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff going on in that movie. So definitely go check that out. Cool. I'm
gonna kill everyone. Satan is good. Satan is your friend.
Yep. I do love that. Oh, so next week, Todd, you will finally get to make all your Satan jokes because we'll be doing Clean Room next week. We're episode 130. Yes, we are. And then we'll continue up after that. We'll do Justice League Dark, which was Todd's recommendation, and then we will do Plastic in 132, which we can say now we actually got a lovely little interview with the writer of Plastic. Super cool, super nice guy. And so we will be having a little bit of that interview played on that episode as well. So look forward to that. And then after that, I believe it is going to be Jughead.
The Hunger.
Jughead the Hunger, and that will finish up our Halloween month.
He's hungry.
I'm excited to finally finish reading because I have the issues of it. Yeah. I've only read the first one.
That's the only one of the ones we're doing so far I haven't read yet.
But it's we've had zombie Archie book. We've had Sabrina, and this is a Jughead werewolf book.
Yep, and then if Sabrina 2 doesn't come out by next year,
Vampironica.
We'll have Vampironica. So I think we're going to try to keep the Archie horror books as much of a tradition as possible.
We've liked them so far. So.
We have, actually. They've done really fun stuff with them. So anyway, cool. So that'll do it for this week. Thanks so much for listening, and we will see you on the flip side.
Bye.
Bye. You guys are pretty good when you're in tune together. Kind of nice.
Okay, good.
So that happened. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode. This band of knuckleheads will be back next week with a new episode. Until then, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr as Funny Books and Firewater, and on Twitter as @FirewaterCast. Go to funnybooksandfirewater.com for the most up-to-date information, as well as cocktail recipes from this and past episodes. Thank you for joining us. And until next week, support your local comic shop, tip your bartender well, and stay hydrated.